guess probably.
I've heard both.
I think it's Skull Valley. I don't remember anything in Rush Valley.
Well, let's get going. It's May 16th, 2024 at our regular board meeting at the Magna Water District, 8885 West, 3500 South, General Office Building. Off to my right, we have Trevor Andre, our district engineer, Dallas Henline, our wastewater manager, Raymond Mondragon, our water manager, Andrew Sumption is our HR, Jeff White, Mick Sudbury, Danny Stewart, Leal Fitzgerald, our controller, Nathan Bracken, our legal counsel, and helping us today through this agenda is our general manager, Clint Dilly. So would you all, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. Will you all please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I would like to welcome the public and guests. So, does anybody here have a conflict that's anything on our agenda? And does anybody would like to make a comment? Okay, I see none. Let's move on to approval of common consent items.
Minutes of our regular board meeting held April 11th, 2024. Expenses for April 1st to May 1st to May 5th, 2024. General expenses, $1,246,852.79. And Zions Bank, payment $0.
I'll second it.
In motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'm gonna turn item G over to whoever wants to do.
Dallas will
Dallas,
take that, yeah.
okay?
So, Mr. Chairman and Board, we brought the wastewater treatment team to here today to recognize them for their outstanding treatment plant under 5 million gallons a day. And I wanted to take just a couple minutes to not only recognize them, but kind of talk to the board and highlight some of their efforts that may have pushed us over the edge. So we won this plant award in 1987, and we haven't won it again since. I think some of the key differences between years past and where we are now, we've got a high-speed training program. Each of these guys is trained on all the assets in the treatment plant, all the equipment, the maintenance program. We've got books and binders that talk about all the routine maintenance, all the preventative maintenance, all the oils, all the fluids that will be required for each of the pumps or motors. We've got all the tools highlighted that you would need to perform those services. These guys do a lot of good things in their lab. They're using the instrumentation that we've implemented over the last few years, not only in our aeration basins, but in our outfalls and our clarifiers, and different sampling techniques that we're using that we haven't used in the past to really use technology to make our process control decisions. So, you know, you can't do all this stuff and you can't win an outstanding plant award without an outstanding crew. Each one of these guys brings a unique skill set that has been able to allow us to do what we do. They take pride in their work. They're all working towards a common goal. And it's their effort and their dedication to the job that has really allowed the wastewater treatment plant to raise the bar and take it to the next level. So congratulations, guys. You make me love my job. I'm passionate about wastewater, and you guys are always challenging me to be better, and I really appreciate everything you do.
Absolutely.
Well, we want to thank you too. So can we have a picture?
Yeah, let's get a picture.
Sure.
The only thing I'll add to what Dallas is saying, I think he's hit what is all that says is the level of sophistication and the way that we're running the plant has grown, and I'm just really proud of all the work that these guys have put in and openness to the changes in the technology and utilizing it. You know, it's tough to do. It takes a lot more effort and time, and The other thing I want to highlight that Dallas told me recently, we're to the point where he has shelf spares for all of the key equipment, pumps, which we've been working towards as a goal for quite a while. That didn't happen overnight, right? But to be able to say emergency preparedness and emergency response, that's been a goal. They've increased all of our fuel capacity and standby generation capacity, and now we can say that we have shelf spares for all of the key pumping equipment. That's commendable to be in that
Oh, it
position.
is.
So that doesn't come without support, the financial support of the board, and then the staff identifying and prioritizing how to make that happen. So I just wanted to add that.
So yesterday I came down with Dallas for a little bit, and we had a good little chat. I'm real impressed how this whole thing's turned around down there. I mean, you guys are a big team, and you guys all work together, and you're all friends, and it's pretty impressive.
Absolutely. Pretty cool.
Good job.
Thank you.
Let's go have our picture.
Where do you want to do it?
Can you squeeze all in by underneath that clock?
I don't want my kids in the back.
There you go.
All right. Smile on three. 1, 2, 3. Take one more. 1, 2, 3.
Some nice smiles.
Good.
You're doing
You're
good.
okay with your picture in the community, right? Sign off. We'll get a newsletter put together highlighting that.
Oh, that'd be
Dallas
good.
is gonna work on that.
Yeah, that's what we need to do.
Okay, let's move on, department report. Clint?
Yeah, wanted to just bring the board's attention to a couple items. I don't have a written report this month. I apologize for that due to some conferences. Been difficult to get all that in writing. But I wanted to highlight a few things. Virginia Fish is retiring. It'll be effective May 31st. We have a retirement party for her planned that we'd like to make sure the board's all invited to. A lunch on May 28th at noon, where we'll recognize her and her service to the
What day is
district.
that, the 28th?
It's a Tuesday. It's
Okay.
the day after the Memorial Day holiday.
Oh, wow, okay.
So
It's a Tuesday.
it's a Tuesday.
What time
At
is
noon.
What time?
At noon. So would welcome, if you can make that, that'd be great. As far as other staffing items, we have posted that front office position in-house. Nobody took, that posting, nobody put in for it. And we sent out for it and have had 140 applicants plus,
150.
150 now.
We closed it on
Closed.
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Andrew's already started doing some phone interviews and getting some interviews lined up for the office team. We'll be interviewing next week, right? And then we've got the collections. We've narrowed it down to a candidate that we're gonna do a walkthrough. Sounds like we're excited about him and his potential. Walkthrough next week, right?
Correct, Monday.
Monday.
Great.
Then on the water crew, got some interviews lined up for that position next week. So making progress there, I think. Appreciate it, all the team's efforts and Andrew's on that staffing. Operations, I just want to bring to attention PFAS. I don't know if the board's heard much on that, but it's the forever chemicals they call it. That's just coming up more and more on both the water side primarily, but we're hearing it now more and more at the wastewater conferences.
That's the stuff that goes in the ground and doesn't ends up in the
forever
well.
Teflon and all the water resistant. They call it, the word I hear at every presentation is ubiquitous.
A what?
Ubiquitous. A big word for it it's everywhere. I think persistent doesn't go away.
So it percolates in the ground,
It's-
stays there.
It's with us now, but it is a man-made chemicals. It's over 3,000 compounds that make it up. However, there's usually a few that they can test for that give you an indication. Just so the board's aware, we've had to do some testing on our water side with our UCMR5, and we didn't find anything of the few that we sampled. We're doing some more, right? Doing some more sampling.
Are we sampling at the wastewater? Would it show up there?
Well, so that's what's coming up. On the water side, there is regulations now that have come that will be in effect in 3 years. 2027. So I don't anticipate, unless we find something new, that we're necessarily going to have to do anything on the water side. But the likelihood is that we will have it on the wastewater side. Speaking to a lot of the plants that have done testing, it's pretty much guaranteed you're gonna find it at the really low levels that we're talking parts per trillion.
Parts per trillion.
Because it's in clothes, it's in food, cookware, it's everywhere.
So what do? You can't filter it out or anything like that? It's,
Go ahead, Dallas.
I guess basically, so it's a branched chain fluorocarbon and it's synthetic and it's almost indestructible. So even incineration at 1,000 degrees, you're unable to break that chain. So there's no real way to treat it forever. There's no real way to remove it. They're having a hard time figuring out how to regulate it. And the sampling, the state was looking for volunteers to sample, and we went down that road. It costs about $1,200 per sample. And because of the sensitivity, the parts per trillion, it's real easy to contaminate those samples. So special collection mechanisms for the sampling. It's just something that was a little bit out of our capabilities and for the price. So
Go ahead.
I don't anticipate anything in our 5-year permit, but potentially, like Dilly mentioned, down the road.
but if you find it, what do you do?
Well, I think it's really high in incineration. And some creative combinations of they call it the strongest bond, right?
Mostly they're land applying it, to your point, but then it just starts to cycle over. So they're trying to get it into the biosolids and then land apply it with the biosolids.
I see, so then discharge it as a solid,
Rather
in
than-
the solids,
Correct, rather than back into the water bodies.
okay.
But the problem is there are some states that even the biosolids they're coming after now.
Right.
So it's gonna be a big challenge if it comes down to the wastewater side for us, and just wanted to give the board that heads up.
Okay.
Jordan Valley wanted to let you know, they've done some data analysis on our water use data. They've got quite extensive staff that allows them to do some more intense data analysis on our water use. And they provided us with a report, which I thought was beneficial to the district. And some highlights from that is they said we were doing a great job on conservation as a community.
Right.
In comparison with all their other member agencies, we're doing really well. To me, the areas that we can improve on are our water loss, continuing to find and repair leaks is a priority, ones that don't surface, how we track any water that's not getting into the system. Some of that is we can't get around because we have a treatment plant that we have to produce more water than we actually send. But as much as we can with this Jordan Valley Leak Detention Grant that Trevor's working on, the more proactive that we can be and go after programs like this, it'll help cut down on our loss.
Didn't we invest in a machine that we can clip on and it will determine if there's a leak in the main? That may not be
We looked
servicing?
into that.
We've looked into it.
It was
We
expensive.
haven't purchased it
Yeah,
yet.
we haven't purchased it, but Still on the back burner right now,
How much was it?
around 18,000.
Oh, okay.
At the time, we were a little understaffed, when we were really looking into that. And I think had other things to focus on, but I think we're to the point, once we get, the water crew fully staffed, that we could approach that again.
Because in our area, sometimes pretty rocky, you might not see the surface.
Yeah, exactly, as well as the sewer.
Yeah.
And then with Leo's work on our meters replacement, we're almost to our goal of being within the 10-year cycle. So
Wow.
we won't have any meter that's older than 10 years
Until the next year.
until the next, yeah, it will, obviously,
it'll
it's a
cycle.
continue.
So speaking of meters, I had a couple calls. They were installing meters on the weekend. Did we decide we weren't going in? I thought we were gonna install them ourselves.
They weren't supposed to be installing on weekends.
Aren't they supposed to be doing it on weekends?
No.
Well, I don't have a problem with them doing it on the weekend. I mean, but the problem that I had is people call and say, well, how come we're paying for someone to have them installed? Why are you guys not doing them?
We do a combination.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We would have to divert, they can come in and focus their efforts, and so what's the split? I can't remember how much the
I
split
think
is.
last year, I'll try and remember the numbers. Last year, both Meterworks and us, we replaced a total of about 1,400.
That's more than we've ever
Yeah,
done.
each year we increase, and Meterworks does about 900 of those.
Well, and the comment that I'd made is, our manpower, I mean, we have manpower, but manpower is shifted.
Yeah,
And, we could eventually get them in, but who knows when.
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's one response you might let someone know is there's a seasonal time frame.
Right.
You're not gonna wanna do that when it's.
But I don't think it's a
cold.
problem doing them on the weekend.
I personally don't like that, just
Just in
because there's
case.
no one's here
Yeah.
to
Yes, it-
take a
yeah.
call.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that, but I was
I
gonna
didn't
say,
know
I
they were
kinda
doing
like it where people in the community can see it being done.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Last, I'll report that on communication, met with Dan Torres. He was the Economic Development Director. He's new for the MSD. I think he met with Trevor and I think he's real big on communication. So I thought that was positive. We'll see what comes of it, but he wants to improve the coordination and communication between Magna Water District and the MSD and the town. or the
And
city.
he came to me right after he met with you guys, cause that's when we had our city council meeting, and he was real impressed with you guys, and I think his heart's in the right direction if the MSD will allow him to do what he needs to do.
Yeah, I agree with that. So hopefully he's successful.
If
How
not,
long has he been in that position?
he's only been there a couple months.
Oh, wow.
I'd like to steal him for our city.
What was the guy like before that?
Don't even,
They didn't have one.
They didn't have one.
It was the county, they were relying on the county economic development office.
But if they let him do his job, I think he'll be really good at
I
it.
do too. Very
Cause
motivated.
he's got his best interest for the cities, and
That's my
impressive.
report, unless the board has any questions.
you have anything? Okay. Okay, let's move on to our engineering report.
Okay, I'll just hit a couple things. The water line project, is full steam. They're replacing the water line on 8850 right now.
It looks like it's really close to being wrapped up.
Well, they started on Main Street and they're approaching 33,000 south
Okay.
with that. They'll come behind that crew and start doing services once they've, tested all of that and have it ready. And then they'll jump over to 9,000 and kind of create that same pattern. So I think they've been doing a great job. It's a challenge out there with the width of that street.
Oh, I know they're so narrow.
I think
You guys are
customer-
pretty much close. They'll just blacktop the whole road. But one of the things that I want to stress the most to the water district is to, when we have these projects, let's try, if we know they're way out, let's try to get with the city and see if we could come up with a deal, because that way we could get the whole road repaid
Yeah.
and it'll be done.
And then something, that we've talked about, but it's not on here specifically, just wanna pull up these, so we've talked about, some improvements around the office building, one being a lobby office.
Yes,
I got back a quote for that at $22,835. That would put a door similar to these ones, a
Right.
frosted one across the front there, and then transform that room, get rid of the drinking fountains and things, and turn it into an office.
okay.
And
That,
then
that was a lower cost option.
Yeah, compared, because when me and Trevor looked at it, we were gonna kind of go right around the fountains, and I thought, them fountains don't even really get used, and if we have to, we can put a drinking fountain,
Dispenser.
a dispenser out there, and, but my recommendation, and I guess we can't vote on it today, it's just a deal, but
Yeah.
my recommendation is, I'd like to see it move forward.
It looks
There's
something
this
like-
is what it looks
I
like.
tried to kind of overlay something that would give a visual to what that may look like, once it was in. It's probably less transparent than that, but gets the idea.
But what I like about that too is you wouldn't have to do anything with electrical, you wouldn't have to do nothing with anything other than close that in with a door
Yeah, and
and take out the fountain and,
got the fountain, bring communication in there.
right,
So that will become an office?
yeah.
Who gets that up?
Well,
It could be an office, it could be a meeting room. I think that maybe is up in the air.
he has an engineer that works downstairs by himself, and it wouldn't be a bad idea to bring him up and maybe move HR into that room and turn the HR room into the
Engineer
to another engineer's.
closer to,
Yeah, closer to Trevor, so he ain't downstairs by himself.
okay,
I mean, that's just a thought, but it could be anything we want it to be honest with
yeah,
you.
that's great,
It could even be a board's office.
okay.
Give you more options.
Geez, that's,
But, really, when we toured the facility out front, we've got a lot of space just right here in our lobby here that,
yeah,
And we have moved a couch out there, so there's additional seating. just
Right,
along the corridor.
right,
that's
right.
perfect, yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
So is that something that, Clint, that you could go ahead and approve without us approving it? You have the authority to that, don't
Yeah,
you?
It's a state contract.
It is state contract, it is under the purchasing, but I mean, of course, we want to make sure the board's comfortable with that.
What, myself,
forward.
I'm okay to move forward on it. I don't know how you feel about it.
Okay,
I feel, move on.
Bring it back in June for.
Well,
official
or,
vote.
Or we can do it. That, like I said, we do have that.
well, you got the board saying okay, so I don't think you have a problem just to move forward on it.
All right, if anything changes, we'll bring it back.
Because there ain't much that needs to be done in there,
does that include communication, cause you need?
Yeah, yeah, everything.
That's
One of the tricky things about that is, and that block is, it's got the rough face.
Split face.
And so they need to hone that down to have the seal for that door across
Oh,
there.
on the edges?
And then what we'd do is with all the previous board members, they would bring them out here and do a wall or we'd figure out a place that wouldn't look cluttered or something.
And also, I wanted, at the same time working through that with them, I've also asked them to price out the parking lot modification so that we had an idea on that cost, so that you'd be able to, basically tell us to pursue or not to pursue. I think we all remember the plan was to include 4 additional parking spots, kind of make that sweep for the drive up a little bit bigger. Modify the retention pond a little bit.
I'm really surprised nobody's actually hit as they went around, you know what I mean?
Turn around.
They've hit the gate, but not the turnaround.
Yeah, so that came in at 89.
That is that's pretty cheaper than what it was gonna be before, because we could, yeah.
Yeah,
That's come
it's a
down.
reasonable cost, I think, for the amount of work
I
that
thought it
goes
was
into
around
that.
17,000 or something.
So I got a question for you guys. Do you think it's beneficial to do that? I mean,
Our parking lot is full back there.
well, I know that, and that's what I said, so I would like to get the most space that we could get, you know, is,
This is the most efficient way to get 4 more parking spaces. Anything else is much more major, much more costly.
okay, I guess this would have to come back for an agenda item,
Yeah,
right, for this?
So if you'd like, I can bring it back and present it in a little.
Why don't you do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds
We
good.
we can't approve that now, right? Because it is in the
No.
budget.
We can bring it back.
Okay, bring it back.
Just other things to note, you know, reuse, you went out and saw the building, Nick, the roof is on.
Yeah, we noticed they were working on it. We
Yeah,
was-
I heard they were welding or grinding and cutting.
How impressive, though, I'll tell you how, when I first seen it, it was just being formed up and it's like, whoa.
And pumps will be set next week, so things interior to that are moving quite
And when
well.
I talked to Dallas, he said this is the only project out there, so this could be a really big deal for the district, for this reuse.
We'll be
I
the
know-
first ones in the state, won't we?
I know one of the boards I sit on, I don't think they're really a fan of the reuse. They want everything to go out to
Great Salt Lake.
Great Salt Lake, but this will be good for, and maybe we'll get a lot more people on secondary now.
I think so.
It'll alleviate a lot of people's concerns over the cleanliness, you know, the
Right.
filters and plugging and that. It's a huge benefit.
So it'd probably be next springtime we get it in play. I mean, it'll probably start up.
September, we'll start it.
Yeah,
and
but
then we'll officially have it
I think we
online.
should do open house on that next spring.
I do too.
I think this is something that people need to really see in
Yeah.
in the city.
We got 384 people we're trying to get back on that have it available in front.
Right.
That I remember 380.
Unless there's any other items on there you wanna discuss, I'll leave it at that.
No, the only thing that I'm gonna, you know where I'm going, the change house.
We've had some discussions with consultants, haven't done a selection, obviously, or have a task order to bring, but we'll continue to work on
But
that.
I would really, really seriously want to push on that.
Okay. Noted.
So I had some people call me on the truck garage. So we're moving ahead on that just in the bidding stage right now, right? Or is it
Well-
in the engineering stage?
It's, right now, it's designed as a 2-bay. With the 4-bay change, we're working towards getting that engineering done. But we've talked with some of these, like this same contractor, Landmark, through the state bid, their capabilities and their past work experience. They've done garages like that,
Okay.
like we're planning, so I'm in discussions with them and another state bid contractor, to kind of try to get maybe some pricing for that, to see if we want to bid it out or go with the state contract.
Yeah, I had a contractor call me and ask me about it, and I'm going, I only knew a little bit about it. I didn't
Do you
know that
remember
much.
who it was?
No, I don't remember the name of the company. It's not somebody I know. They're out of Ogden. They wanted, they were gonna go down 2 weeks ago, and look at it
It may have been one of those companies I'm discussing.
on the state bid. Oh,
And you're sure that we're for sure that the 4-bay is gonna be enough, I mean, or can it be a deal that can it be added on? I mean, if we want to add down the road?
Yeah, I mean, there'd be a wall separation, but a metal building, I believe you'd be able to
Okay.
add another bay or.
And this will actually put our backhoe in it, right? So in the winter time, it's not,
We've kind of gone through the scenario of where things would be and how much space, cause they're
Okay.
the
Where the
deeper
trucks would go,
garages,
yeah.
deeper and taller.
there's nothing worse than coming out at 3 in the morning and have a leak and have your backhoe all froze up and,
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of.
so this adds another press to us, right, over there?
A what?
Another press?
Press?
No, this is for up to
or
your,
this is up here.
Oh,
remember?
I'm,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
he talked down, it was the wastewater treatment plant, where we're adding,
The press building?
is that the press building?
Oh,
Where we're
okay.
adding on to.
All right. Yes, that is the garage, but metal building as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That one, we're not quite at the bidding stage for that.
Oh, okay,
Okay, so you probably know who that
We're close, that's in my ballpark
okay.
builder, even with the county.
I didn't, yeah, because you said we were, some hurdles there.
See, and you know, Don, it's funny when you said the county, because you know, why is it, somebody said they've just had so many problems dealing with the county to try to get,
We have, the district, our projects have been difficult. You know, rather than 3 months, we've had one that was 9 months, the wastewater plant.
so Nathan, is there any way around that? I mean, trying to get, you know, permits and that through the county, I mean, because it's just, it's just taken a long time to try to get things done when I don't think it should take that long.
What specific permits are you getting?
That one was a conditional use that took 9 months. It was the wastewater plant expansion in,
Was that a conditional use through Magna City or?
no, it was through the building department. Salt Lake County handled it.
So I guess, so the MSD is the land use,
Well-
well, Magna City is the land use
Yeah,
authority.
I guess it would be the MSD, and then they pass it to county engineering.
Okay, so it's Magna City.
But I think this was before the MSD.
Oh, it's that.
It was
That would have been like, what, 18 or?
2018.
Yeah, so it was the county.
Well, no, because the Magna incorporated as a municipality in 2017.
Well,
The
it was that
MSD was
same-
created in
same-
2015. So, but the point is the county is Magna City's contractor on these things.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're on the Magna City Council, and so I think that's a discussion you need, because basically it seems like you're frustrated with the county, which is effectively Magna City's contractor. Is that right?
The planning, yeah, planning department,
So I would talk with,
and public works.
Public Works is, the county's functioning as Public Works, so I would check with, I think it's Cade Moncourt who's over Public Works, and you can check with Trent Sorensen, who's over Planning and Zoning.
When I thought that was bad, Twila City, it's May, and they said, oh, sorry, we're out of permits. They're not issuing any more permits in Twila. I thought, Twila County.
That's bad.
I thought, that's crazy, it's May, it's building season, oh, anyway.
I can't say that Dan Torres acknowledged, he's heard that from everybody he's talked to, and he wants to help solve that.
Well, and I'm just wondering if we could set up a meeting with the MSD and ask them, if, have a meeting and just kind of sit down and have them explain the process.
I think that would help speed it up.
Yeah, one thing he noted was, he thought that the way that the planning split up the workload could be better, and explained that there wasn't as compartmentalized, hey, you need to focus on this area. They all kind of got to work on whatever they wanted to work on type.
Whatever city they want to help out.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's some good direction coming, hopefully.
Yeah, I tried some of that direction, and they push you off to different people,
Oh, I
and you
know.
don't get any, I called Mick, and I said, this is ridiculous. They don't give you an answer because they're now assigning people different things, and they're not sure what that entails, so it's a little bit,
I spoke with Brian
Crazy.
Hexel, what's his name, Brian?
Hartzell?
Hartzell. The other day, we had a nice talk on the phone about this. We know people need to be educated how the MSD works. And people like us, we need to know where to go to get whatever we need, because I got people calling me on stuff and it's like, I'm on the council, but I can't tell you. I mean, so again, it goes back to communication.
I think you ought to set up a meeting though, absolutely.
I think that's a
It's a
great
big
idea.
enough project for us, that's kind of a hurdle.
Are you guys okay with that? We set up a meeting?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on, let's move on to Raymond.
Water production report and call-out report. Water production summary. Colonial water production of the month of April was 100.03 million gallons, or 274.18 acre feet, a 12.51 increase from 2023. Year-to-date was 665.04 million gallons, or 99.08 acre feet, a 31.35 increase from 2023. We have purchased 263.70 acre feet of water from Jordan Valley year-to-date. call-out report, wastewater and water combined. Total number of call-outs 15, 11 being water, 4 being wastewater. Total hours paid for water was 49.5, wastewater was 12. 4 leaks, 11 miscellaneous. And that's the call-out report for the
So
water
Raymond, when we say
production.
miscellaneous, could that, I guess that's just anything, right?
Yeah, that just varies. If you look on the sheet on the back, it'll tell you.
Okay.
From, leak checks, somebody can't turn off their
Okay.
water. It kind of varies a little bit, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you.
And then I kind of want to highlight the accomplishment from the operations crew completing the lead and copper, inspections. So now it kind of turns into Marie's hands, so we can follow through and see where we're at on that to get all compliance with the state. I'm not sure if Marie is aware where we're at on that for lead and copper.
You have completed the randomized.
Yes.
So we're gonna, next step is we're gonna go through QAQC, then we're gonna sit down and, decide how you're going to represent those galvanized lines, whether they're galvanized requiring replacement, or, if there's no indication that there's lead connectors, we could turn around and submit this inventory as soon as we can.
Yeah,
And that's due by October, right?
October
And
21st.
then there'll be a second round. The LCRI has come out that will require another round of
Yeah.
that randomized.
Which will have to be done by 2027.
Yes. We're gonna have a lot of new regulations by 2027.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did we have any problems, people not letting us in their homes, or was it?
No, once we changed our list and got another group of lists and kind of went through those, and the ones we couldn't get response, we turned around and got another list, and it seemed to help out quite a bit.
I think there was about 10.
Yeah, there was like, yeah, about 10 and then,
So
Pretty good.
your community has been very responsive.
Good.
and that is my water production.
Thank you.
report, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
Dallas?
Just a couple quick things, Mr. Chairman. In the collection system, we've got 2 different contractors beginning work starting next week. So we've got Don Calvert, who's coming in to line some manholes. A lot of that work will start on the south frontage road, down between 72 and 8,000, working over to 84. And then we've got Twin D Construction scheduled to do some spot repairs in some of the lines in the collection system. And then a quick update on the wastewater treatment plant. We've got Huber scheduled for the 40-hour service next week on some of our wash compactors and grit removal equipment. That's a manufacturer's recommended time interval. And then the big chlorine project we've been working on, some of that instrumentation and some of those parts has started to show up. So we'll be starting to get those installed, and hopefully that project will be done early July.
Awesome.
And that's all I've got, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so Dallas, I was gonna bring this up to you. I'm gonna see if I can get the police to come down and put, our little speed sign to, cause you know what, people travel pretty fast along that road.
Oh, yeah.
So we just gotta make sure when the guys are pulling out, they're paying attention, cause yesterday when I was down, it's like, whoa. And they're them big semis.
Right?
Dallas, I had a question.
Sure.
The air pumps, we have 8 air pumps out there on the ditch,
Blowers.
blower.
Yep.
And they run 24/7.
Correct.
So at one time they had a life on the bearings. Have we improved that at all?
Yeah, we have. So the manufacturer recommends re-greasing that bearing at 10,000 hours. We've found that they're failing between 5 and 7,500 hours. So we've gone through and we've taken each one offline, one at a time. It goes up to sign winders, they break it down and they re-grease that bearing, they check the windings. We've had 3 fail, but we've had the remaining 5 re-greased. So it's just part of our maintenance program. We've got it set up and skated to where every 5,000 hours it trips the service ticket, and then we take them up there.
So it looked to me like on those pumps, or those blowers, there's nowhere for the grease to go.
Correct, it's a sealed bearing.
So I don't, it didn't make any sense to me. I mean, I've seen on some equipment, they have an exit where you pump the grease in and you kind of see what's coming out.
Right.
but is that something that we can add to those?
When we asked Sidewinders about that, that was not an option. And I don't know if it's the environment that they're trying to protect that bearing from, and that's why it's sealed. But we asked them, is this something that we could swap out to something that we can service so that we can see whether or not it's got grease? Because aside from the time interval, we just have to wait for it to fail. So once it hits that time interval, we do the inspection and then, we take care of the service.
So when you say the word, when I hear the word sealed bearing, that means it's a non-greasable one, so.
Correct.
That is a non-greasable, it's got shields on it and everything?
Non-greasable in that there's not an exterior grease dirt.
There's not.
No,
You have to take it apart to do it.
correct.
We ought to see if we can add grease zerks to that.
That's what we've asked them. I can share.
And I don't know if Sidewinder's the one to ask, because they're a motor shop.
Okay, we've had good
Might
luck
go
with
to
them
the
on that.
people that make that.
I've got some communication back and forth from the manufacturer that they don't recommend trying to change anything like that.
Well, the reason is they don't want you to pump grease into the air, because it really would mess up that whole thing, but,
Okay.
I don't know why those cavities can't have a little grease zerk in and then it can exit out.
Sure.
Because otherwise you just keep pumping in, just like in a motor, you just pump it inside of the cavity.
I'll look into that a little bit more and I'll bring some info back for you next month.
Okay, I'm trying to think, I'm sure the lubrication engineers that I talk to are retired now. I
Sure.
wish I had somebody that we could talk to, and there might be a couple, but then again, it needs to be consistent with the pump.
Right.
What is that brand? You remember?
On the blower? No, I don't know the manufacturer. It's just what they provide, so probably just aeration industry standard.
Yeah. I know we were talking at one time, maybe looking at a 3-low blower, because I think those are 2-low blowers, aren't they?
I'm not 100% sure on that.
In fact, I take it back, I think they're a double fan where it sucks in from one blower and then goes into another chamber to build the pressure.
That could be, single stage is coming to my mind, but you may be right.
I'm trying to think what they call that blower. It's not a very expensive blower, but it seems like for the labor we're spending to fix the darn thing.
Yeah, I
I mean, that's a lot of labor for the cost of the blower,
It is. They're probably more expensive than you think. I think they were around $7,500, which I guess is not a large drop in the bucket, but we've got a couple shelf spares now in our inventory. So as we take them offline for service, we put a shelf spare in and then there's no downtime.
So if we take them down, let's say we're taking them down, what, 6 months?
No, every couple years. So
Oh, really?
we haven't had to do this to one that's been serviced.
Okay.
So the 5,000 hours, yeah, it's not an every year thing.
Okay. Now, is it something that we could tear down ourselves? Because it's not a motor, it's actually a blower.
Yeah, I think some of the tolerances are a little bit of a struggle for us without the specialty tools. Maybe provided some extra training, we could tackle it, but it's just one of those things we've opted to hire out.
But again, too, you look at it and say you versus cost, contracting it out compared to our costs,
Well, I just wondered, would that be a burden on your manpower if it's something that you could accommodate to rebuild it sitting on the shelf type thing?
It would have to be something we analyze. I haven't looked at doing it on our own yet, so
Okay.
I'll look into that too.
Are they, when we're talking regreasing then, or we're talking about basically replacing the bearings, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
We good? Okay, let's move on to controller report.
Right, thanks, Board and Mr. Chair. We are in compliance. There's a couple things that we have finished. The quarterly report is presenting to the board today. The quarterly reports to the transparency website has been completed. We did get our registry with Lieutenant Governor filed. That's that $25 fee we pay, and then we just make sure there's no changes in the boundaries or anything with the district. The municipal wastewater planning program, you approved last month and we submitted, so that one's completed. Second page of that list is the conflict of interest annual certifications. If you remember, we notarized those last month. And then the next one is grandma training annual. It shows as being expired, but it's not expired. As long as it's done once a year, then we are in compliance, it's just highlighted because last year I took it in April and I haven't finished it yet, but it'll be finished before I report next month to the board. Other than that, we are in compliance with
Awesome.
everything.
Thank you.
Do you want me to move on to the financials?
I was looking at them and they look really good.
They look really good. The recap, the first page, looks like we're well under last year, which we kind of are, and it has to do with all the impact fees we were collecting on DR Horton, Little Valley Gateway, and Gablers Grove. So those are kind of coming down. They've paid for most of their phases, and so we aren't getting that income this year.
But we'll have the one of Ivory Home starting up.
Yep, Mahogany's coming up. Another phase 5 and 6 for Gablers is coming. But, I think there's no more phases in Little Valley, is there?
No, they're all built out up there now, right?
They've done all the infrastructure, they're
Right.
still doing some townhomes.
Right.
And I think they've paid all their fees for those too,
Okay.
so. Just to the bar graphs for the revenue.
Yes.
It shows just what I kind of explained, the impact fees are lower, but
Right.
we are above budget, so that's a good thing. Expenses, we are below our budgeted expenses at the end of March. So that's another good thing. As far as year to date, compared to last year, we are total up a little bit compared to no, we're still down.
I was gonna
Year
say,
to
yeah, we're
date.
down.
And then the pie charts after that, it just shows the restricted and non-restricted funds that are in the bank right now. Restricted is at 17 million, unrestricted is 24. And then project payments, this is where some of our money's going, so capital projects, what we've spent money on is 1.5, and it lists the projects out at the bottom. And then the next chart is how much we paid in our payables since January, 1.7. And most of that is from the bonds that we pay every month,
Right.
and our AP. Our AP's gone down too, so that's great.
And our
then-
rates on them bonds are really good.
Yeah, I think our highest right now is at a 3, if I remember right.
You wouldn't get one like that today.
No. Following is line by line, detail by detail. If you have any questions, let me know.
I went through and looked at it and I thought it looked pretty good myself. I didn't see nothing that stood out.
I didn't see too many things. Just so you know, they'll probably be presenting the audit next month.
Okay.
But that is my report unless you have any questions.
I'm totally fine. Jeff, how you think? Are
It
you
looks
okay?
really good.
You okay, Dan? Okay, let's move on to our HR report.
Thanks, Mr. Chair, and Board. Just a couple things to touch on. Our safety focus for the month of May is traffic safety. We've been doing some safety meetings on that and highlighting those things with the crews. We performed our annual hearing test yesterday. That went well. We just recertified all of our flaggers for their 3-year recertification. So we're caught up with that, aside from a couple that were absent that day that we'll have to send separately.
So we don't have them where they're going like this, stop, go ahead, go, like 3,100, oh my gosh. That contractor over there.
Olympus Safety came in, did a training on our gas monitors for us at our last safety meeting. I think that went well. And we're making sure that we're staying up to date on that with our confined spaces and things like that. We have notified the city that we'll participate in the 4th of July. I think we're working towards planning for that. We'll keep you apprised of what's
So
going
are
on
you
there.
guys up to building a float? You guys have a flatbed trailer, but I heard if I want a float build, just talk to this guy
Yeah,
here.
no, I'm done with that.
Hey, Jeff, get that.
We'll just put some colored paper on the,
Just, yeah, just.
On the
crepe-
back truck.
Crepe paper streamers along
Yeah,
the side of
yeah,
the
yeah.
trailer.
Got a new canyon truck. we
hey,
can
that's
use.
the main thing. Just get buckets of candy and throw out the
Yeah,
window. That's the
that's all I
number
want.
one thing. Nobody cares about nothing else.
The trailer, we could take the water
Trailer
tank
like
out
we did
again.
before.
That's another option.
Yeah.
Or, that was,
I think some of the interest was I don't know if they'd talked to Dallas about this yet, was possibly taking out the camera van.
oh,
They just said it's easier to maneuver in that camera van with traffic rather than the Vector.
it's true.
Okay.
There's less cleanup to get prepared, there's less likelihood of an emergency happening, and that we need the Vector out of the parade route.
Right. It's always those concerns, yeah.
So,
Well, and they moved you guys to the front, so in case that did have to happen, but I do like that idea. It's easier to maneuver and, you know, and it just shows right there, you know, big and bold, Magna Water and,
It's got the signage for
Yeah.
what you should and should not flush.
yeah, good advertising.
so
Our
I,
biggest cost is the candy we're gonna throw out.
Yeah.
How many people do we have involved in the parade? Two?
Generally, we have a couple people walking alongside, one person driving. It's nice to have some people there in case we need to back up or
right,
keep
oh,
people
yeah.
away from our vehicles. I think Lent's went a couple times. Last year
I'm
we
totally
had
okay
Paul
with that.
and
You
Chet
know
there,
what?
I believe.
Maybe we need to make a plaque about our sewer award and put on the side of the camera truck.
That's an idea.
That's a good idea.
I mean.
We
you-
might
you-
wanna
you
blow
can
it up,
send-
cause I don't think you'd see it from here to
No,
that.
no, I mean though.
Do a banner or
A
something
banner
on-
on both sides.
Yeah, I think,
I think
And
that's a good
just
idea.
show that, you know,
or we could have two guys marching down,
There you go.
holding the banner, color guard.
well, it's either have that made or we send out with our billing, maybe a
Yeah.
flyer. I think we need to do that.
Danny?
That's a
Danny
big
with the
thing.
flag on his horse.
On his horse, yes, there you go.
Yeah. That horse is tired.
Then we need to get the Vector truck out again to clean up your horses. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Well, if you're gonna use the camera truck, I'm just saying, there's a lot of space on the side. We could put a couple of things about the awards on there. I mean,
That would be,
but if you guys decide to flyer, I mean, I just think the public,
I think that's a good
you
idea.
could
I think
get
that's
you could get
something that the
a
committee can
couple
work
of your
on.
guys to dress up
Something for that.
and just,
I think it's a good idea.
Curds Improvement has the board do that. So the dress up part, they said, yeah, that's great, but their board members. should do this."
oh, okay. But I'm supposed to be in the parade with the council.
Yeah.
Well, Nathan, we need a float, so,
and,
okay.
The last thing that I have, Mr. Chair, is, we've started talking a little bit about a summer party. Just wanted to gauge your interest in a summer party this year.
Okay,
I think the crews are interested in continuing on and going to the Bees game again. They had a lot of fun doing that.
okay.
Is that something that the board is supportive of this year?
I don't have
if
a
that,
problem with that.
that was cheaper than Lagoon.
Yeah, if they like that, let them go to that. You know,
They seem to enjoy that
They
then,
seem-
because
they
I wasn't
enjoy it.
able,
It's a good
I didn't
chance
make
for
it.
Everybody to sit down
It was
and chat and
Had a good
laugh.
turnout.
Had a good turnout.
Okay, and we, and then we just contract with the bees for the food and that stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, the food's not great, but that's expected.
Yeah, but it's hamburger hot dogs, I mean,
The water.
I don't know what's
There's
gonna be there.
boiled hot dogs and boiled hamburgers, and they all look great, and-
Yeah.
but
Leave
but
after
that's
this
part of the
year.
game, right?
that's the way baseball is.
That's the way baseball is.
so, okay, I'm totally okay with it. Are you, do we have we budgeted for that, right? Okay.
Okay, that's it.
Probably be a good idea to find out when and see how many people we got going. and-
Yeah, we'll start planning that way. We just wanted to talk to the board before we went too far with the planning process.
So on that, do we let them bring their, family can bring
Yeah,
their
that
kids,
one we'll
right?
let the family.
Okay, great, I think that's a great idea.
That's it for me, Mr. Chair.
Cause they have the little train for the kids and, okay, awesome, thank you. Okay, let's go on to, projects and award and agreements.
Okay, I'll take the first one there.
Okay.
Chair and board. So we've got A2S, for water line replacement project on 8800 West. I'm gonna pull up a map.
How they were even working Saturday on that project. I seen them.
Oh, for our current one?
Yeah, isn't that Nolan? Oh, look at them cute kids.
I don't know why it's not coming up. Sorry. I'll use our GIS to show you where this replacement is. Essentially, just west of the high school, the existing high school, from 3100 south, north along 8800 or Spencer Avenue. It will cross Magnum Main and will continue up and turn here to tie into a 10-inch main that we have over here. Most of our projects that we've done recently have been 8-inch. This is a 12-inch line. It was identified in the master plan as a replacement project, but it also brings capacity to the west side of the town.
What's in there now?
It's a mix. There's 4-inch pipe, there's 6-inch pipe. So like I said, it's a replacement, it's an upsize, and kind of a dual benefit. So
How long will it take them on that one, Trevor?
we're gonna do the design this year for that, and then we'll bid it out for a project next year.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how many months.
We'll wanna time that when school's out, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Well, let's
that-
see. No,
that's
so
the
next year, next August, the new high school opens.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The 25th.
Yeah, between
August.
25, yeah.
Yep. 25 is when the new school is on, and it's on track to open. So.
So, looking at this, this fee, in comparison with the type of project, past projects that we've done, I believe that it's a fair fee, and I'm very confident that AE2S would be able to produce a great project for us.
Okay, so we need a motion.
So, let me get back. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve AE2S to the scope and fee for 8800 West Waterline Replacement Project in the amount of not to exceed $79,930.
I'll second that.
In motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Number 2 is the sweeper.
Ventrac sweeper, I can take that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
There's a couple slides in your packet. This is the item that I brought to the board last month. Talked a little bit about how we'd use it, talked about how we decided which manufacturer to go with. This is a similar unit to what they have on the water side. Page 2 highlights just kind of the model number, the motor, things like that, and then the price. So this is what we're proposing for property maintenance. We'll do all the sweeping of the roads down there. It's versatile in that we can budget for future attachments. We'd like to in the following year get a brush cutter for it. These things, they last a long time. We've had Raymond's for, 15 plus years.
Yeah.
So,
Who's got one?
Water side.
Oh, okay.
they've got a sweeper for it, they've got the brush cutter deck, and then they've got the plow for it.
So this
snow
will be
blower.
stationed just at the wastewater.
Correct. Yeah, there's a little bit of liability, we would never wanna bring the one from the wastewater treatment out onto the road. If we're just based on potential contaminants, so we've always tried to keep that separate.
Now, do we need to buy a trailer for it?
I don't anticipate it ever leaving the plant, and if it does, then we could just tag team it with those guys.
Who services this? Oh, who services Ventrac?
It's the same person where we would purchase it is what are they,
That
turf
United-
equipment and irrigation,
Oh, turf equipment? Okay,
so.
yeah. I didn't know they were still around. You got a real good price because that thing is just unbeatable with all the attachments and everything, and it's such a reliable, rugged. But I just priced it out last week, and the price, you got a pretty good price, because it was $40,000, and you're getting it for 33.
We're 40,695
Well, I mean, the base machine was
Oh,
40,000,
sure,
so
sure.
you're getting a good deal.
with,
Maybe
correct.
it's a municipality price or something.
Yeah, state.
Okay. So, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2024 Ventrac 4520N multi-use sweeper in the amount of $40,695.
I'll second that.
In motion second. All in favor? Okay, let's move on to item 3 now.
Okay, Board and Chair, I'll take that. So this is an amendment to an existing contract that we have with CRS for the Haynes Well Number 8 replacement project. With our grant funding, it requires some different documentation and for the bidding documents as well as environmental review. So they put,
Does that get bigger so everybody can read? Oh, there you go.
yeah.
I mean, I've got it here, but I mean, in case these guys want to see it.
So basically two items here. One is that environmental assessment, which is CADX. And then is second task of updating the bidding documents to both the well drilling and the well house documents to, take care of the Build America, Davis-Bacon, all these requirements that are part of that grant.
So what do we do with the EPA? What's the, are we now on the radar with the EPA or something?
No, just by getting the federal money, the grant money, then they require,
We have
all
the
these
report.
things.
The
as part
cost of the
project.
money, the cost to get the grant money to us
Included.
on engineering is 25 grand.
Yep.
So it's not, it doesn't come free.
No, and like I think I mentioned last month,
Nothing's
when we
free.
started this project, we didn't know if we would get
Even
this
me.
grant funding.
Even me.
So we hadn't anticipated, didn't put these within that scope initially. So that's why the amendment's here, now that we know we're getting that grant funding.
Huh. I just wonder why the EPA, usually it's always Division of Drinking Water or something,
Yeah, it's
So
a
this
community
one
grant.
is a community grant, put in by our legislature, and it is through the EPA,
Okay,
Region 8.
okay. I just thought it was kind of weird.
Okay. Just need a motion on that.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the amendment for CRS Engineering Task Order for Haynesville Number 8 replacement project in the amount of $25,000.
I'll second that.
In motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approval of change new uniforms, rugs, bathroom, service supplies.
So we've had, Andrew will take this, I think, right?
Yeah, Raymond and me.
Yeah.
Raymond and I have met with 3 different companies, getting bids on the rug cost, the uniform costs, and some of the bathroom supplies. Vestas came in significantly cheaper than the others
That means the contract will be over in June?
in July.
Oh, July, okay,
Well, June 30th, you're correct.
okay.
With some of the challenges we've had with Cintas, we thought it would be good to go out to look. They were the most responsive during the process. They were also the lowest bid, and they were willing to do the 3-year contract that we suggested, not wanting to go the 5-year. And so we feel like this would be our best option. One thing I wanted to highlight was with the uniforms, the shirts and pants would come to $224 annually per person, which is cheaper than the $300.
Wow.
Is the quality the same as what we have now, do you know?
I think so. That we've got some in my office there, and I think it's pretty good quality.
I just wonder if
And,
it's as good as
and the
what we
paper towels are one thing that seem to be getting lower quality, and the paper towels that they provided us are better quality than what we currently have, things like that. So
That's good.
Well, that's good, you know, and I know we were supposed to go with the lowest bid, but not always lowest is the best.
Right.
And I asked Andrew to reach out to, you know, to people that's used them, and they've had really good report back, so I feel good about, you know, us switching over to these guys.
Excellent.
So do we have to approve this?
Yep. Says to.
Okay, go ahead, yeah,
Oh,
okay.
no, there isn't a price on it though, but,
The price is gonna be variable based off of,
oh,
of what supplies we take in each week.
What we would do is if you're in agreement with this, we would bring back the final
Okay,
signed agreement.
that would be,
Yeah.
So that you'll have all of that. I don't know that you need to make a motion.
probably
right?
not then.
Until,
We're
We
gonna
just-
have Nathan look through the contract.
yeah, just,
oh,
Okay.
just wanted to
So
get.
on the rugs and that, I think the rugs in the summer prime don't need to be changed out as much as in the winter time, right? Or is it just,
Well, it depends, you know, with,
Water
it just
leaks,
depends,
things like
yeah.
that.
No, okay.
Money
Sometimes
Okay,
we're more
okay.
active.
but I mean, we cut down on rugs though, didn't we? I mean, way back when, I mean,
Yeah, we did cut down on the,
we tried, but Centos didn't want to cut down anything.
so, okay.
So just a quick question, so is procedurally, you need me to approve a contract, right? But are you ready for the board to approve it? Because the board could approve it, subject to me reviewing.
Looking at it, that's a good idea.
Okay,
That would be good.
Let's do
Yeah, I
that.
mean, or if you want, I can
we,
review it.
we
can
just
bring
have to
back.
have it
Well, that's fine.
we have to have it in place by,
Well, let's do
June.
it.
I'd like to approve it because you know all the
The,
footwork.
the,
And then
the idea would
approving
be
Nathan Bracken to overlook the
okay.
contract.
for the logos and stuff like that, it's gonna take some time for Vestas, so the sooner we tell them that.
Yeah,
they
let's
better
get
work
going.
the Contract, better for them.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to submit approval for the change of new uniforms, rugs, and bathroom services supplier to Vestas, and based on Nathan, legal counsel, looking and approving their contract.
I'll second that.
Been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, property purchase.
All right, so, we've been going back and forth with Northrop Grumman for the property for the Zone 3 reservoir. We've reached a point where, you know, both them and us feel that it's at the final stage, and wanted to get approval through you. I'll just kind of highlight the things that are here. The square foot cost for that is $14 per square foot. The final amount will be based on a survey. And the contract is here in the documents. Nathan has gone through it a couple times. He had some initial comments that we've tried to discuss with Northrop Grumman, and some of them unwilling to budge on, but they weren't deal killers in our minds. I don't know if Nathan, as far as the purchase of sale agreement, anything further for that one?
I mean, I had some suggestions on how to improve it, things that I'd like to see, but like you said, Trevor, they weren't deal killers. I mean, things I can live with.
Is this up off 4100?
Right next to our drinking water tanks up on the hill,
Okay.
far south ones.
How,
Zone
is
3.
it something we're gonna have to fence, or do we do that after we build it?
Yeah, we'll put up a temporary one during construction. It's about 6 acres.
Oh, 6
We'll-
acre?
We'll have a temporary construction easement, and then we'll
With this
permanent fence.
purchase, does it give us some more room for another tank?
Not another tank, but there would be an option, you know, space for a pump station,
Oh,
like a booster station, if the hillside was to
Okay.
become developed.
yeah, this is really key for us to be able to build our third zone secondary
Storage.
reservoir. And right now, we have to operate on a dead, closed loop system, which is tough to manage. It's a lot more, concern over changes in demand.
Will this take care of our top of
Yes.
our
Yep.
responsibility?
So this is really exciting that we've been able to get to this point. It's been kind of challenging. We've been on this process for 4 years, I think,
Holy cow.
trying to get
That
this.
probably started a little
Yeah,
bit when you were
before,
still the
yeah.
engineer and
Yeah.
carried on to me, and here we are.
Okay, good.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make it, a motion to approve the property purchase and sale agreement, Northrop Grumman Systems Corporation for Zone 3 Reservoir. Property in amount of $14 a square foot, estimated to be $3,756,614.40. Final amount to be determined based on survey.
I'll second that.
Been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
They didn't just want to donate it to us, huh?
Unfortunately, no. Yeah, you
Being
know,
a good neighbor.
The real challenge came when, Kennecott said, hey, we're in negotiations with Northrop Grumman. And I went, oh, no. Like, but I'm glad, really happy we got to this point.
Oh, good, okay.
That sounds good.
Next item is in conjunction with that is the three-part temporary construction easement. There's a boundary line agreement, and there's a restricted covenants in there. So speaking specifically to the temporary construction easement, it's the amount of $18,000 per month, with 4 months due at the execution of the agreement, which would be $72,000. We anticipate less than a year for construction on that. I think for the Zone 2, it was, remembering correctly, around a 6-month build. And that is worked into this contract, so we won't be paying for any time that we don't need that temporary construction easement. There is one item to note that Nathan caught, and it's maybe some nuance in the language. The temporary construction easement is about 5 acres, and within that document, it says that we need to deal with the noxious weeds, but it speaks to the property, and we're asking them to adjust that to speak specifically to the easement property.
Okay.
So that there's no confusion, we're not going outside of our easement and dealing with weeds across the whole 20 acres.
Yeah.
Specific to our, so that would be the only, I guess, thing to note, and I don't know if it needs to be said, when you approve this.
I do think it does, and what I would do is recommend approval subject to Northrop Grumman agreeing to that change.
Okay.
And have we heard from them on that change?
I haven't yet, but
Okay, well, we've submitted to
now
them
that
already.
we've done this, I'll kind of reach out and say, hey, this is holding us from.
And that's why I think it's helpful if it could say, hey, the board approved this, subject to this change being made. So we're ready to go with this change.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve temporary construction easement boundary line agreement based on subject to change with a better description of the property responsibility and restrictive covenants with Northrop Grumman System Corporation for Zone 3 Reservoir property. Temporary construction easement amount of $18,000 per month with 4 months due at execution of easement agreement, initially in the amount of $72,000.
I'll second that.
Been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's move on to item J.
Nathan, are you gonna take
Yeah.
this resolution?
Sorry, I was just writing down the note on that.
Nathan, before you make that, I want to talk to you for a second.
So we don't have single ply paper towels anymore, huh?
They're gonna be much better. that was actually the first thing that everybody wanted to see when we started having people, can you have them bring in the new paper towels and see what they're like?
You end up using at least one more.
You use more, yeah.
Yeah, the ones right now, they fall apart, they're like,
Well, that's because of the absolute lowest quality recycled
yeah.
paper they're using. The lowest
It's
quality.
like my toilet paper at home.
Pressed together.
Yeah, they just disintegrate while you're wiping your hands on them. They get, as soon as they get wet.
You
My
know,
wife's not happy.
I made the mistake the other day and I got the one ply instead of the two ply. Oh,
So the board had asked me to put together the paperwork needed to change the election cycle due to the fact that the district's elections take place during, like most districts, during the municipal election cycle. And that means that your elections are now taking place at the same time as the Magna City elections. And so there is a process in Title 17B of the Utah Code that allows us to do that. It's an application that we need to send to the Lieutenant Governor's office, and there's certain criteria you need to make. I modeled this on White City's application. They made a similar application a few years ago. And so there are two documents that we need to talk about. The first is a resolution, and that I think it's helpful to have the board have a resolution that documents what they're doing, the reasoning for it, and the legal basis for it. And attached to that resolution, which is I think item J2, is the actual letter / application to the Lieutenant Governor's office. And so there's a couple bases for doing this, but I think the biggest one, and I think the one that was most persuasive to the Lieutenant Governor's office when White City did it, is that there's going to be confusion if you have people running for the Magna Water District and then the Magna City Council. And at the same time, people can run for both offices. And so if you have someone who's running for office, say you have someone on the City Council who's running for office on the Magna Water Board or vice versa, people may just get confused. Maybe they'll vote for one person on one ballot and thinking it's a duplication or a mistake. So that's the primary basis. I think some of the other things I noted is, one of them is a cost savings. Leal, my understanding is that when we did these elections in the past, it was cheaper. Now there are a couple of changes that we've discussed, but just for the record, if we switch to the regular election cycle, the other thing is that we'll likely get a higher turnout because people tend to vote in greater numbers during the regular election cycle than they do in the municipal cycle. But one of the changes this will mean, there are two things. I think the most significant change is that the declaration of candidacy period will be much, much earlier. It's gonna be in January. And so you'll have an election in November, but if someone wants to file to run, they're gonna have to file in January, which means that you're basically gonna have to start doing the outreach to let people know that they need to file in probably October or November, a year in advance.
You mean next year though, right? Not this year?
Well, yeah, so we're moving the election to 2026.
Right, 26 and
So we would start advertising in 25.
You would start advertising in
25, that's what I mean,
25.
yeah, okay.
And the candidacy would be first of 26.
Yeah, and I would recommend that you, especially since you're making the change, that you do a fair amount of education and outreach so we don't have situations, because my concern is you're gonna have people that are used to the municipal where they show up in June and you're like, sorry, it was like almost a year ago or 6 months ago. So that's, I think, the most significant change. Like I said, I think there are things we can do to mitigate that. There is a requirement that if you're lessening a board member's term, that it needs to be a unanimous vote, but that doesn't apply here because we're not lessening anybody's term. I think we'd be extending it by a year. The other change is that right now we're contracting with Salt Lake County to hold our elections. Salt Lake County will not provide that service during regular election cycles, so we'll need to hold the election ourselves. But Leila, I understand we've done that before, and in the past it was cheaper than.
It was. The hardest part was finding judges.
Yeah.
Finding what?
Judges.
Oh.
That was really.
Yeah, so there is an administrative, it's gonna be more work for Leal. It's gonna be more work for the staff to hold the election yourself, but you've done it before. There looks like there was a cost savings. And so those are really, I think, the two key differences. One is just a very long lead time because the declaration of candidacy period for a regular election is much earlier in the year than a municipal election. So that issue that we discussed, and then the fact that you'll need to hold the election yourself. So I had drafted this so that it's a resolution, and then the application / letter was included as an attachment. So what that means is if you vote to approve the resolution, you're also approving the letter.
Sorry.
So what we should probably do is make sure that everyone's okay with the resolution first, and then make sure you're also okay with the attached letter.
Okay. So we make two motions then?
No, it's one motion.
Okay.
Because the resolution says that the letter is approved.
So we just make a motion on number 2,
Yes, no, you make a motion on number 1,
okay,
but I want to make sure that you're also okay with the letter.
Right, and I read the letter and.
yeah.
So before we get started, I need to recluse myself from voting because I'm going to possibly run for city mayor.
Well, I don't think you need to recluse,
Well,
because this is just moving an election.
He doesn't have to, but he can if he wants.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to just,
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion then to accept the resolution 2024-01, resolution supporting an application to hold elections to the Board of Trustees during the regular general election cycle under Utah Code Section 17B-1-307, election change resolution 2024-01.
Don't you have to bring the letter in too?
No, the letter is,
The resolution
it's just one.
says.
Then I'll second
approve
that.
it.
Okay,
it's been motioned in second.
all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
So do we do the election cycle too? No?
So no, we don't have to do anything else, right?
no, the resolution approves the letter, so you don't need to do 2.
Okay. Okay, information and discussion only, no items taken. So the next board meeting is June 6th. Do you have a conflict with June 6th for the board meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Trevor.
Item 3 under J.
Okay, Magna Water Collection System Health. Okay, sorry, I'm just moving ahead, really.
We can just go through that real quickly, Mr. Chairman. I've created some slides that will just talk about our annual maintenance for the collection system. I've done this before, so slide 1, that just talks about the tools that we use.
Oh, awesome.
Trev, if you can go, as a reminder, as you hear us talk about the SL RAP equipment, that's the sewer line rapid assessment test. It's a transmitter and a receiver. They send an acoustic signal down the manhole, and how it measures the acoustic at the receiver, the louder it is, the better the better the quality of the condition of the pipe. So, next slide, please. I'll just try to get through this quickly, Mr.
No,
Chairman.
you're fine, I just didn't think about it.
Okay, this is a overall service map. This is the exact linear footage that we used the equipment to inspect. It was 369,233 linear feet.
Wow.
And then we can track this year over year. You can see as the equipment completes a service, it spits out a reading. It's either red, yellow, or green, green being good, yellow mean fair. And then obviously towards red, you get a more of a poor condition. I wanted to talk specifically this year about how I use this data to kind of make our maintenance decisions. Next slide, please. So I can query the search results. So now you can see the map is a lot smaller. So I'll look at anything that, the grades come out as a 1 to 10. So I'll look at anything that scored less than 7, and I'll filter our map based on any section of pipe that recorded a less than 7 grade, and we'll go and service those pieces of the collection system first. So we get through the entire collection system once a year, but after SLRAT comes through and they identify these based on the grades, I can hit these areas again. So These are kind of hot spots that we know of, you know, and then while they're doing the assessments, if they find anything that's either red or black, it triggers a notification and we can jump on it immediately. So, the cool thing is, it is cool. It's one of the things.
Could this indicate then if there's a belly in a pipe or something like that would be causing something?
Yes, sometimes a belly in the pipe or drop manhole or heavy flow, it can give you a false reading, but it'll still give you a false negative. So it would still trip further inspection. So you'll never have, interference that would give you a green reading. So you never have a potential blockage that would come back green.
No, I meant if you have one, you go inspect it, then we camera it, or we clean it and then camera it, or?
Usually it's clean first, yep.
And then if it shows up again, we camera it to see if there's a belly or some
Yeah.
physical,
Correct. And I think if I'm hearing you correctly, so after it triggers a red or a yellow, we'll go in and we'll flush it. And then we always take a good look at it. So once we take a good look at it, we can identify what the issue might have been. So, and then I can also track this year to year. So on this dashboard, I can look at what my reds and yellows were from 2023 and compare them to 24. So that's kind of how we use, you know, our reds and yellows. If they're beyond your typical maintenance, which would just be the Vactor flush truck, maybe it's cracks in the pipe or deep bellies in the pipe. At that point, it would trigger a larger repair, so a spot repair or even a slip line repair.
what's the worst you found in a red so far?
It's been a few years, but there's been, you know, pieces of the pipe missing, large cracks, infiltration. So roots, you know, if you've got a line that's got heavy roots, it'll show up red. So then we'll flush that and then run the saw through there and then give it a good inspection with the camera equipment.
So if we happen to see a root that's real bad in there, can we kill the tree up there that's causing it in the first place with that?
That's not an approach we've ever taken. So we have areas in the town that we've designated as high root areas, and we use chemical root control annually to target those areas. We haven't ever gone after trees in people's properties or anything like that.
So you actually saw the roots if you have to?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. The nozzles on the Vactor water hose themselves can take care of quite a bit, up to even 1/4 inch. But then we've got the saw attachment that can get rid of most of our stuff. So
I remember seeing one and it like spider web.
sure,
The roots just go nuts in there.
they do get bad. Next slide, I think there's just 1 or 2 more. So this is kind of how I track it. You can see this is 21, 22, 23, and 24. Starting in 2021, I don't know if you can make that any bigger. 70% of our system came back good, 23% was fair, and then 5% was either poor or blocked. So 2022, about a 9% increase on the good. And then 2023 and 2024 we've kind of stabilized at 85% of our system is reporting back good. And then we've got another 10% that's fair. But the yellows, they don't scare us. That just means that they need routine maintenance. And then the 2% and the 1%, those are sections of the system that we've identified that need some type of engineered fix. So that's the maintenance I talked about where Don Calvert or Twin D will come in and they'll do some of those repairs.
That's pretty cool.
So,
Now, have we pretty well taken care of with Don Calvert doing what he's doing? Is that gonna pretty well take care of us? We should be moving this a little bit?
1% or 2% of a system that's got thousands of assets, I mean, it's really tough to move that needle. When you talk to this firm that provides this equipment, you know, if you have something on the order of 5% in your system that needs an engineered requirement, you're in pretty good shape, and we're at 3, maybe even a little less.
Okay.
So, and that's all I have, Mr. Chairman, unless you have any questions.
No, thank you. That's really good. I like that. So hey, can you put a sleeve in a residential sewer line?
They do them.
They do them, okay. Okay, let's move on to information discussion only, no items, no action taken. So our next board meeting will be June 6th, but you have a conflict with that, right?
Yeah, I thought I had mentioned in our last meeting that I would be out from the 4th till the 10th. So I think I asked at that time if we could move it, I thought to the 13th, but then I seen in the email that that is a conflict too, isn't it?
No, I think the 13th would work for everyone, if that works for you.
Okay. So we're gonna move it from the 6th to the 13th.
Okay,
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I need a motion to do that, please.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion to?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to move next month's board meeting from June 6, 2024, 10 a.m. to June 13th, 2024 at 10 a.m.
I'll second that.
Been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, possibly special board meeting, June 27th, 24, at 10 a.m. to review and accept the 24 certified tax rate.
So sometimes it comes in after the 20th, 22nd. So it's kind of, I just wanted a placeholder there in case
Okay.
that's when it came in. So I will stay in contact with the board,
Okay.
let you know where.
So
where
this
it's
is
at.
already on the calendar, right? Or does
Yes,
this-
I believe so. I'd have to look again. If it's not on the calendar, we can notice a special board meeting,
At the next,
well, 24 hours before we have it.
Now, if it comes on the 20th or the 21st or whatever, are we set on the 27th or can we move that?
We can move it,
Okay.
But she gave it a lean time, so in case it
yeah.
comes in later, we have the
Well,
date set.
yeah, but like I said, that Thursday would be the 20th and it's not gonna come until that Friday or that Monday, if I remember hearing you right.
Last 2 years, it's come while we've been sitting in this board meeting.
Oh, really? Okay.
But, yeah, we'll stay in touch with you and let you know.
Okay, so so we don't need to make a motion on that?
No, I believe it's on the
It's on your,
annual calendar right now.
right?
So we wanna go and close?
Well, to see no more, anybody has any questions? See none, let's just move to a close.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to meet immediately in closed meeting to discuss character, professional competence, physical or mental health of individual, the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property, including any form of water right or water shares or collective bargaining pursuant to Utah Code, SS 52-4-204 through 205.
I'll second that.
Been motion second, all in favor? Aye. At 11:33, 32?
11:33.
Yep.
first and then after that. I don't think my mom's have ever been the same since she's.
Okay, does someone want to make a
Didn't
motion to
work,
close the close? I mean, close the close and open the open.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion.
1:14.
It's 1:12 PM. I'd like to make a motion to close the close and reopen the public board meeting.
I'll second that.
In motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any other business we need to address, other than I'd like this table? Did you notice?
Wow.
So that was good. So down the road, when you extend, you'll have it.
Yeah, or if you wanna set it up for people to come address the board.
Yep.
We have that option.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
Oh, and I'm glad you got rid of that old, microphone
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, we did.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, if we see no other options, no other business, someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
I can make a
I'll make a
motion to
motion to
adjourn.
adjourn.
He made a motion adjourn, second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
So, is there an outlet down there for that water?